Welcome to Deep River Farm, folks. I appreciate you joining me today. Get all this pollen and stuff. We got a lot of pollen here, but it's starting to thin out. Not as much on the vehicles now as it was, and things are starting to grow real well in the garden. Today, I want to talk about something that's starting to be illegal in a lot of places, and that is the collection of rainwater. Now, I wonder why this is being made illegal. I think a lot of it's got to do with the government trying to control the water in certain areas. So they're trying to make it illegal to even capture rainwater for people to water their gardens and things like that. What they're doing is they're trying to force people to depend on the local water system so they can make money off of it. It's just pretty simple. That's the way I see it. I don't think it's got anything to do much with water resources, because a household is really not using that much water. So these big businesses and so forth is using all this water. Lots of mortgage companies now require wells or city, county water hookups for you to even get a loan. They will require a water test if there's a well on the property. Any kind of spring well, a cistern, will not satisfy the people for the loan most of the time. Now, mortgage companies won't approve a home loan without being connected to the grid as well. Nevada, Colorado, Utah all have strict laws against collection of rainwater. A Florida person lived completely off grid. Their municipality filed suit against them to force them to hook up to the water and the sewer and the electric. The object was to force them to be dependent upon the county and the city. They collected rainwater, used solar panels, used a composting toilet, and that's how they lived. Now, there was another couple that had a tiny home and lived totally off the grid. Solar panels, rainwater collection, another composted toilet. The local city filed suit trying to evict them out of their home. Land was in the free and clear, claiming that they had violated city ordinances for zoning, and the city wanted them to hook up to the city services. The city then cited that the home was unfit for occupancy. That was how they was trying to get them to either hook up to the grid or evict them off of their own property. And they refused to hook up to the grid. The city then proceeded to condemn the home. They fought back, saying that they were only being harassed because the city couldn't make money off of them and make them dependent upon the city services. The city lost in court, and the couple filed a countersuit against the city for harassment, making false claims, and undue stress for a frivolous lawsuit, and they won. Now, in Oregon, let me tell you what they're doing there. House Bill 3419 gives the state control of the groundwater and the private wells. So what they're doing now is trying to make people pay a fee for their own private well that they had absolutely no investment in. They will not upkeep it or anything like that, but they want to charge those folks a fee for using their own well, their own groundwater, and their own pump, their own plumbing, and all that type stuff. The city water, even though these people have never had city water, they're trying to make them pay for this stuff. These cases wind up in court with chalk it up to another loss for the city. And these cities use this tactic to try and force people on the dependency for water, sewer, electric, etc. Once dependent on the water supplier, you become an asset to that supplier, who is then free to add fees to the bill to pay for sustained funding for the water infrastructure. Many of the water systems many of these water systems now, many of them just barely pass the clean water standards, and many have no way of filtering out the PFAS chemicals that are found in some of this water, and a lot of them can't even process the industrial waste, and they just push it on down the line, and then they'll finally get caught. We had a couple of instances here where I live where they were doing that. They could not treat the water from certain industrial companies and was just dumping it on down the river untreatable, and they finally got caught. And it was contaminated the water all the way from central North Carolina plumb down to the coast in Brunswick County. The city and the county water systems also, if you remember, contain fluoride and chlorine as well, or chloramine, which are banned chemicals overseas due to health issues in humans. Now, California, Oregon, Washington State are passing laws to charge and take over and tax private well owners for the water usage. This is an intentional tax, so to speak. Extortion, if you ask me, should be against the law. And this is a long-term strategy to establish sustained funding to improve water infrastructure by stealing money from people who don't have access to or a benefit from the infrastructure, that have private wells that the state has no investment in or will repair if something happens. They're just going to take the money from the citizens through extortion practices, fees, and taxation. Right now, California has hundreds of water systems non-compliant with safe drinking water. This affects way more than 1 million people, too. If California would stop funding the illegals, it might have money for what matters to its taxpayers. With all the water quality issues everyone has now in all these cities and things, they should consider getting a purification unit. So if you're on a city water system, folks, you may want to look at getting you a purification unit, because a lot of these systems, like in California, cannot treat the water. And you need to maybe invest in something that has a reverse osmosis or something similar so that you can purify your own water. And then that way also, if we have a big major power outage or something like they're having in Spain, France, and Germany right now, you have a way to get water out of the creek and to purify it, or purify collected rainwater in an off-grid situation. And that's exactly what's happened over in France and Europe, Germany, Italy, all those areas over there where these folks have lost all of the power, and it's a big mess. And the biggest thing you need when something like this happens is food and water. So, folks, this was something I wanted to let you know what they're doing in California and Oregon and Washington State, and some other places where they're trying to tax or put applicable fees on private wells. They're hoping to, in California, to use this to capture about $168 million off of bonds. They're hoping to get about $30 million off of private well owners. Then they're hoping that they can get another, I think it was $110 million off of like agriculture businesses that have wells drilled on their properties to water vineyards and cattle and things like that. So they're already looking at how much money they can scarf up off of people's wells, trying to control the groundwater. So they think they can control the sun, and they'll do that too if they get a shot at it. They'll want to tax people that have gone to solar to generate solar power. And we're going to talk about that in a future video, but thought maybe you folks might want to know what they're doing, trying to take money from people that have private wells. I appreciate you folks joining me today. Leave a comment. Let me know if you live in one of these areas where they're trying to tax your well or put a fee on it or meter it to see how much water you're using out of your private well. Thanks a lot for watching, folks. Like and subscribe, and make sure you're subscribed, because we're having a lot of issues with them dropping people off of the channel. Y'all have a blessed day from Deep River Farm.